This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning and welcome to Guardian Radio AM and On the Clock with Aaron Green. Of course, we are having a mash-up Wednesday, and I'm using that loosely because it sounds like Aaron Green just want to mash up people. And I said, no, Aaron, we're doing an evaluation. We're doing an evaluation, a 2-year evaluation on whether, watch this, the Davis Cooper administration is doing what they said they were going to be mandated to do. We want people to hold them accountable to their plan. What do you call our plan now? New name.
Blueprint for change.
The blueprint for change. And use that as a guideline to what they have accomplished thus far. Have they started what they have accomplished thus far? Do they have a timeline of completion of what they have accomplished so far? Are they still committed to what they have promised? Like once upon a time, they promised 2 hospitals. Aaron is saying 3. But once upon a time, they promised 2 hospitals. Are we going to have any of these hospitals started before the end of 5 years? Once upon a time, they promised a new prison. Are we going to have any prison started? Not no wing now. Not no wing. I talk about a new prison.
And court complex.
Are they going to have a new court complex started? Not no wing again. A new court complex. And that's what we're going to be talking about, right? We're using the grade system. You come and give your grade, and I can push you and say, man, what percentage that is so I can understand your grade. Is it close to A or is it close to an F? So far, what that group who did that last census? I forget that name.
A private company?
Company.
I don't know. Was it public domain?
Yeah, public domain. Public domain said they got 65%, 60%. And I said, you can win a general election with a 60-ish percent.
65.
That means that more than half of the population, based on their statistics, believe that the Progressive Liberal Party, the Davis Cooper administration, is doing a fairly decent job, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to go straight to the text.
No,
go ahead.
I see we got a caller on the line.
You got a caller? Okay, we go to the caller, and then go straight to the text, and then we're going to read Aaron's long list, because I want to hear
the list for you so that people could respond to what it is.
Okay, then, we'll do that. Right. Okay, let's go, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, CA, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man.
You hearing everything all right?
Yes, sir.
That's good. All right, Mafrulia. I have a question. Well, my grade is like a C minus. But I have a question for my boy, Vincent Wallace, who called in just now. Say he ain't whining with the PLP party, whining with the government. Say the government doing a good job. But Vincent, you's my boy, you blind. How you could know if they doing a good job? You could see these big potholes in this road. These big trench, gasoline is $6.70 a gallon. The BC bill coming twice your bill what it used to come last year, double. And if you all say that you all take over now from the F&M, you all supposed to make things better for the citizens of the Bahamas, not worse. So
Yes,
until them things do better, until current bill could go down, gas and the things in the food store go down, I give them a C minus, man. But Vincent, you's my boy, man. You don't drive. You won't get to see these potholes around here and see all the foolishness that they doing. Keith Bell doing foolishness and all that foolishness.
But Skillaboo drives on the road too, and he feels the potholes.
He can't drive. His wife must be driving.
Yeah, but he feels the potholes.
So he should be able to feel them potholes.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay.
But when you say C, a C minus, what percentage that is? Let's show that percentage out to me.
Under 50%. Right, under 50%. They still have a lot. Like how you say, dude, Brave Davis going around promoting climate change all around the world, but all the black smoke going up inside the sky and the environment out Clifton Pier. But he all over the place promoting climate change. They got to start paying us for the climate change. For the other countries around the world got to pay us for what they doing to the environment and costing us a bunch of hurricanes in the Caribbean and costing us a couple $1 billion. But we got to start with BC then. We need solar, wind, or
hydroelectric, yeah,
or sea turbine, something like that. We can't be buying bunkersy and then talking climate change. I ain't gonna wait.
Thank you very much, caller.
All right then, I see it. Thanks.
And I think it's buying ability, that despite the efforts of the Prime Minister, there are a number of Bahamians who are not buying into what he's saying.
But that's kingly behavior. How could they not buy into it?
Okay.
They like kingly behavior.
Okay, let's go through your list, Aaron.
Okay.
Even though I want to hash out some of that list, But go ahead.
We can just read the list in its entirety.
And call, I see you.
We come right now.
We're going to go to the list first.
1 is FTX, 2 World Expo, 3 the PM of Abaco, 4 Colby and the disappearing officer, I guess 5 Keith Bell and the disappearing Chinese nationals, 6 Toby Smith and the invisible signature, 6 the new national sport, 7 what's the bill for the Andre Rogers baseball stadium, and I guess 8 what's the bill for the old stadium, eh? Story in the paper today. Taxi plate gate. And then I don't know what to call this one. I just want to call it the Minister of National Security should resign. Pintard says Monroe controversy not adequately addressed. Of course, this is when the Minister of National Security said, quote, yes, she can give consent. You can consent from 7 years old. It's just that the law says if you are under 16, if you read the offense having sexual intercourse with somebody under 16, with or without their consent, which tells you that the person can consent, just that in law, we say it doesn't matter. 7 years old. Yeah, there's that one. And then we're going to move on to BPL. Watsilla pulls out partially. Why? BPL. Fuel surcharge rate increase policy. Why? BPL. North Andros fire and oil leaks and other family island woes. Why? 13. NIB. Next one, the Sovereign Wealth Fund becomes a national investment fund. 15, confidential clauses, fines, and settlements. 16, Ministry of Road not working. 17, union busting. 18, media busting and the OPM press machine. 19, hurricane shelters and storm disaster preparedness. 20, healthcare systems. 21, the price of fuel and the retail margin. Next, artificial intelligence. Next, artificial food. 24, crime. Is it a crisis if the criminals are killing themselves? Next, Nassau Cruise Port. Next, public broadcasts. Next, RBPF and traffic enforcement. Next, beaches and parks. Next, national debt. Next, public disclosure. Next, the HAT, honesty, accountability, and transparency. That's what I have so far on the list.
Let's go to this caller. It's a beautiful list, and I want to hash out this list. And I want the callers to comment on a number of these issues that Aaron raised. Right?
And the list isn't exhaustive. You could put more things on the list, is what I'm saying. The list ain't finished.
Okay, the list ain't finished.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Newry.
Hey.
You said you wanted the PLPs to call back. I am a PLP.
Good.
But let me ask Ms. Green something.
Yes, sir.
Do you know of anybody who ever bought a house, walk into the house and said, I will spend this amount of money to renovate this house at this amount of time. And when they do get into the caulk of the house, it's a whole different ball game. Some things that they couldn't see when they walked in, it's now the roof has changed on the inside. They thought the roof was perfect. The water line in the wall now has a chop out and change. That I draw that illustration to what the PLP thought they maybe could have done when they got in and when they got the papers and the books. It was a totally different government.
So my PLP friend, you telling me the PLP failed from they was in opposition? I appreciate your position. They failed from before they take the government.
No.
That's not what you're saying.
No, what I'm saying, what I know where you're trying to lead me to. But
no, because that's where you're leading me.
So the PLP only knew what the F&M had allowed them to know.
So they didn't use any of the measures and mechanisms available to them as members of the House of Assembly, as members of Parliament, members of the Public Disclosure Committee, members of the Public Accounts Committee. They didn't use any of the mechanisms available to them to interrogate what was happening within these ministries. They didn't rely on their...
The person, they only could go by the answer with the person gave them.
Hold on. They didn't rely on their experience in their term prior to be able to make a more reasonable assessment about what to expect when they got into power. But furthermore, if a contractor come to me, right, and give me a quote from looking on the outside of the house, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, that contractor ain't walking away until I tell him, boss, what type of assessment can you truly make by just looking at the outside of the house?
Oh, no, don't forget, I said the man ran into the house too, but they didn't realize the roof had to change in the walls. The
the pipes in the wall had to cut back out. But let me say this in closing. Mr. Philip Edward Brave Davis can go on a Bahamas airplane or any plane and get drunk and take off all his clothes. The F&M can't beat Brave Davis in the next election. They're not organized.
Me and you have a date. Me and you have a date, sir.
Thanks very much.
Okay?
Right.
We have a date because if the FNM beat the PLP in the next election, we got to talk.
I will bet you a plum tree.
A whole bunch.
A whole plum tree.
Look here,
I
Erica.
can chop these and start growing it from now for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
I received
for
that.
a mango tree.
I received that. Okay.
Thanks very much, Colin.
Yeah.
Now, remember, no one thought a minister could have won the election either. I remember him starting on that stage and I said, "Oh Lord, he ain't gonna never win."
You mean that dance? Eh?
That dance, and then something happened.
That was Ants.
Something happened.
Yeah.
It's ants and it's anyway. Let's go to the next caller. What's what you call us, man? Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Aaron, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You know, what kind of foolishness is this I'm hearing this morning on this almost national radio? Let's put this thing into context, yeah?
Yes, sir.
The PLP party, this is not their first rodeo
Yes,
in the
sir.
politics and governing this country. The F&M, likewise, this is not their first rodeo in governing this country. Don't come with this foolishness about they don't know what they walked into, because guess what, Aaron, you asked a very pivotal question. Well, in opposition, you are supposed to go and do your homework. You're supposed to go in and find out what is wrong, what is right, and then the things that is wrong, even though you are on the campaign trail talking about these wrong things, you should have had a plan to correct.
Yes, sir. Still there?
No, passionate. Let's go to the next caller. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me? Turn on your radio and go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Newry. How are you?
Doing beautiful, man. Morning.
And to the most beautiful, bodacious Miss Green.
Why, thank you,
Miss Green,
sir.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome.
Blessings.
Good morning to the nation. Mr. Newry, Miss Green, listen. Now, I hear a lot of callers calling, and some of them are making 0.5%, and some of them ain't making no sense at all. But you know the government has 100%.
Yes, sir.
No penny is worth nothing anymore. But, Miss Green, a blind man could see that this government is doing a passing grade job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tourism is on the rise. All right, the children are back in school full time. Education, they're getting a daily education so that they can become good, productive citizens. The government is trying on a lot of angles, and they're doing good on a lot of angles. Now, no government is perfect, all right, and every government is going to have challenges, all right. But what we need our citizens to understand is when our government fails, we all fail because we are the government. The government has came out of us. We're the government. We're the people. This is our nation, and we all have to play our part as citizens in this country for us to have the country that we're looking for.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So you can't just come on the radio every day and beat the government to powder and everything and saying they fail, because they have not failed.
I
mean, the country is running, right?
I mean, pause, stop right there.
Sure.
I give you the opportunity. I think that what you said was fair, right? That everything is not failure. But when I say that, what I mean is that the people, the human resources, right, are showing up and they're putting in the effort. The vast majority of the human resources. But that doesn't mean that they're not failing. You see, the good people could come to work every day and do good and try hard. That doesn't mean that they're not failing. They could still be failing. And we have an obligation as citizens to each other, to the same government that belongs to us and that comes from us. But more importantly, we have an obligation to the future, to those children who are unable to participate in governance the way that we adults can, and to those unborn Bahamians, future generations of Bahamians. We, the people, the third element of government, the caller said, you got F&M, the opposition and the administration, and then you got the people. We have a duty to critique them. We have a duty to hold them to account. It is just up to us, and the duty is on behalf of future Bahamians.
Before you go, caller.
So, Ms. Green, can I ask you a question then? So
Just quickly, I got two more callers.
this is a quick question. You're making my point there. So if you have, say, 45% of the public service as F&Ms who support another government or another organization.
Yeah.
And if they're coming to work and they're doing everything in their power to make a government of their choice, who is not their choice, to look bad, then you are saying exactly the same thing I'm saying. We are all the government. We are the citizens.
Yeah, but I didn't say that.
We are the citizens, and we all have to play our role in order for us to have a successful government.
I didn't suggest that people are messing up because they don't like the party that's in power. I ain't saying that at all. Here's what I'm telling you. Here's what I'm telling you right now, right? It's 2023. It's 2023. In 2019, the government passed a law that said you could turn left on red if there's a sign at the intersection indicating you could do so. The minister failed to tell the people that in the interview. The media failed to read the law and ensure that the minister was speaking correctly because they expect the minister to speak correctly. Nobody came back and corrected the minister for 3 years. 2021, I came on the radio and I started saying, hey, y'all doing foolishness. And then I read the law in its entirety and realized that everybody was wrong. And the next thing you know, the superintendent in charge of road traffic get up and say, we're not enforcing the law. We're not enforcing the law. We think that it should be you could turn left on red everywhere there isn't a sign, right?
Right.
It's 2023 now, and you got people turning right on red.
Wow.
There's a failure. But we got to go.
Before you go, caller, what's your grade?
Well, I give them a B+. I think they're trying. I think they're doing a good job. I give them a B+.
And B+ meaning what percentage?
Sir?
What percentage you in throw? Just throw the percentage.
Well, that's a B+. Well, you can give them a 60%.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate the balance. I appreciate the balance, caller.
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Let's go to the next caller, producer.
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, Pop, yeah, good day, Miss Green.
Good day, sir.
I like that about you, baby. When they think they could talk BS to you, make sure I tell them what you're saying.
Let's be clear, because I want them to be clear too, and then we each help each other improve.
They can't be clear because they bias. I listen to my boy, not my boy, but Bradley, Mr. Camden, for many years, pre-national movements and power.
Yes.
They always criticize them, but I don't like that about my PLP people. Because you're getting your little contract or whatever, you all can't talk what is right. And then when people then talk what right, you're talking about who mad, stay mad, that we mad for something. No. Wrong is wrong and right is right. Muff, I like that, Muff. I like that. I was waiting for Bremen to come. But I don't know if you want to add, but you said unless you could add more things.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I say Keith Bell lie on the deputy prime. The deputy prime minister. He don't know what Keith Bell talking about.
Hold on, we can talk about that soon.
Then he fix him out to say we in charge and they can do as they see fit. I think he wrong for that. You know something? I think they lie to us. They tell us that we is the boss and they the servant. And I really believe that because they supposed to be servant, but that ain't what's going on, man. These people, they's the boss. They doing what they want to do.
Before you go, what's your percentage?
I thought I told you all before. No, that was in yours?
No, that's the other show, but go ahead for this show.
But it's room for improvement. I think Brave Davis deserve an F because I don't know where the real Brave Davis is. Where the real Brave Davis, please stand up and say something good. I don't know who this man is to talk, but he's a Haitian, and that ain't the only reason. He ain't answering no damn phone. All the promises.
Okay, Papa. We let it. I apologize. It's me. Cecil, you're right.
You sense the people. It's you. It is you.
It's the tone that I added to it.
But I just wanted to say that Minister Keith Bell did not publicly accuse the minister, deputy prime minister, or anything. We heard a voice note of some sort, and we don't know. There's been no acknowledgement or no decrying of that as yet. Did you hear any acknowledgement that yes, I said that, Aaron?
No.
Did you hear the deputy prime minister say no? That wasn't that.
No, I read a statement purporting that the deputy prime minister said no.
No, once he's.
But then we don't have a deputy prime minister, so I don't even know who we're talking about.
Let's go to the caller. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon,
ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm just calling to say that I give the government coming out of the gate and they are so busy crisscrossing the earth and going to all of these ports of call in the world that they have not yet had the opportunity to give the Bahamian people a chance of what they have spent from the time they were voted in up to the present time. We do not know what the deficit of the country is. We don't know how much they incurred. We don't know anything, so I give them an E.
Man, they gotta deserve more than the E. Besides, we have a budget, and in the budget explains what everything is being spent on. They didn't tell us.
Okay, we have a budget that says this is the amount of money that's earmarked for this thing. And this is what we intend to spend on this thing.
Definitely getting spent.
Do we have a statement that says this is how much was spent on this thing?
That's a different thing.
And indicates whether we spend all of the money, whether we exceeded
you want a separate report. I tell you the money spent, and you want to say what it's spent on. That's two different type of reports. I could tell you this money spent for sure. Be content with that. The money being spent.
But, okay, I want to go back to my list, but because on the list I got honesty, transparency, and an accountability.
Let's call the first one for the list. Let me.
But we got some text.
Let's go to text then.
As well, right? The text here says PLP is a failure. I give them an F. They haven't done anything. Bahamians are so naive and unsophisticated that any word or anything can swing them.
It can't be that bad, man.
If Bahamians are not rallying for change, I give them an F too. You people only talking for people to call. The Bahamas is a failing country. Education, healthcare, and environmental issues has all failed. PLP and FNM has failed this country and its people. Wake up, people. We need change. Stop being blind to what's in plain sight and trying to find out things that you already know exist. And texter, I ain't get to talk at all because we're entertaining the callers this morning. Good morning, Ms. Green. Great list. To your caller's point, what if you owned a home prior to the current owners, or worse, what if you were the original designer or builder of the home that you are now buying? I agree with your reply, Ms. Green. There are mechanisms in place to some level to where we are all aware of the governing challenges. On another point, it is curious how your callers translate a letter grade to a percentage grade.
The last one?
Yeah, and all the callers, I think, are really, they're trying to be fair. They're trying to be fair. Great show. How come whenever someone don't agree with the government, they are known to be against the government or against the party, right? Like, how come every time someone offers a critique of a political party, then you must be a member of the opposing party? Can't we just give critique because critique is warranted?
Okay.
Texas says, I'm trying to figure out how Erin can grade any government when she spoiled her ballot when voting. So because I didn't vote for a particular party, I'm not allowed to grade them? Or are you saying I don't have the ability? You're saying because I didn't vote for a particular candidate, I don't have the ability to analyze the experiences that I have as a citizen of a nation? Do you think this is Rwanda, where you're required to take a test to be able to vote?
I wonder if, like, prisoners who got their right from not voting can complain about the prison, since they can't vote anymore.
Right. Because you're in prison, you can't vote.
You know?
Yeah.
Or can they complain about their treatment or the medical facilities in the prison? They have no voice. Anyway, let's go to the caller.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm getting beat up, but I okay.
Good morning. See.
Blessings.
Listen here. Y'all stop allowing top of them to call the show and dog foolishness. I grade the BLB a B.
Okay.
Stop allowing these callers to call in and dog foolishness because they disgruntled callers.
And when you say B,
let them be fair.
When you say B, what percentage that is?
I give them a B.
What percentage that is? What percentage B?
They doing good. Some things they do what they say they're doing. I mean, a lot of people disgruntled with BEC or BPL, but other than that, they doing good, man. Some like Bob them calling and talk foolishness.
I appreciate you, man.
I tired of this show now. Every time you're calling, a bunch of callers calling and talking negative.
We need
We all
you
in
to
this
call
country.
more.
We got to live in this country, and all us got to pull together, man. Because if we want to go somewhere, everybody got to pull together. What we doing is pulling and hauling like the black crab syndrome.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop it, I'm stop talking foolishness.
Let me apologize to you right now, ma'am, because I have a feeling I'm getting ready to go mash up the PLP right now.
Let's go to the next
I
caller.
appreciate your demand for more balanced critique, though.
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Blessings to you.
I would ask Ms. Green a question. Ms. Green, can
Yes,
you
sir.
think of anything that this government do that is good?
Oh, yeah, that's a question for you, Mr. Green.
Let me pause and think about it. But let me preface it by saying this. I think that the government has attempted to do many things, but I think they have fallen down. They have fallen
No, but okay, the
down.
question is, can you think of anything that the government did that is good?
Okay, pause. I could think of a lot of things that the government did that is good, but here's the point I want to make. These are not things that require celebration. You see what I'm saying?
no.
You do the things that you ought to do. I'm not going to celebrate that. I'm not going to give you an A because you do the basic things that are expected of you. You see what I'm saying? It's 2023. You name me one new hurricane shelter built on a family island.
None.
No. I can't name one hurricane.
Name one hurricane shelter in New Providence.
None.
I can't name hurricane shelter.
Name the winner of the Jubilee competition, the Jubilee song competition. Name the winner of the Jubilee song competition.
Elkin 360 win.
No, of the official competition.
Okay, no, I can't
call
name.
me.
I can't name.
You questioned me. I thought I called to say something on the show.
No, man, you could
But this would be always do. This would be always do. When
caller.
we can't answer the
Caller,
question,
I put you
then
on
we do.
mute.
But
I put you on mute, caller. I put you on mute. I didn't hang you up. I put you on mute. We calling to have a conversation this morning on my show, and today is the mashup show, where is our show. We have conversations. We attempt to reason through our thoughts with each other. This is not a show where you just get to call and say whatever. You could say something, and then I get to respond to it, and I get to engage you in a conversation. Now, if you send a text, I go read the text. Right? But you call in to have a conversation. You tell me to name one good thing, suggesting that I being unreasonable. And I telling you that I'm not going to celebrate them for things they supposed to do. The crossing guard showed up to work, that's great. Am I going to celebrate them for that? No. But let me point out to you some things that are just very basic things, and let's talk about it. There you go. You're back on the air, sir.
Caller, still there? No? Let's go to the next caller.
I see, because I get the impression you was listening.
Go ahead. Patch it through.
Good morning, caller.
Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning, Aaron and Mr. Newry again.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm confused at what people are saying is a good thing that Mr. Davis and his administration is doing. Because if you look at it, they're talking about the children are back in school. The children was ever going to be back in school one way or the other. Because COVID is going down. The country would have ever opened up fully. Because why? COVID went down worldwide.
And listen, hold on.
Would have never picked up.
And the PLP was going to beat the UBP because the whole world was moving away from apartheid. The whole world was moving away from apartheid.
Exactly. So where is the props for that? Why are we giving them props for things that would have fallen into place eventually anyway?
Absolutely.
You know, that's what I'm looking at. Show me what you did differently. The persons were cooped up in their house worldwide. One thing they are now doing is trying to get out and travel. So, of course, they would have been doing that. That's not something done by the PLP. No, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand me? Yes, like I said, I gave them a D-, because I said they are making some headway. You know, like you say, they didn't finish anything. There's a lot of promises, as per usual. But how much of those promises are going to come to fruition?
Thank you.
You understand me?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Thank you.
Yes, when we grading, let's be fair. Like Papa said, let's be fair. PLP does not matter. Let's be fair and when we grade them. Because at the end of the day, when you are doing terrible or you're not doing as well, however, I give you a good grade, why should you improve?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go next caller. We want them to speak as much as possible.
Because look here, a D grade is satisfactory, right?
D grade, and that's
so why people upset that they're getting a D if you all say a D is satisfactory for the children?
It's a pass.
Good morning, caller.
Morning. I agree. The government are Good morning to you guys.
Yes,
Good
sir.
morning.
Yes.
I grade the government a B minus.
Give me a percentage for that.
A B minus would be what I think a B minus would be
70 something, eh?
Yep.
78.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
All right. So name something that warrants this B minus grade.
I will name it. Just give me a second, Andrew. And there's much more room for improvement, and I think the government is on the right track at this particular time. The reason why I grade them a B minus, this is the first time in the history of the Bahamas. You could go do your research. This is the first time in the history of the Bahamas. This is the lowest record number of unemployment in the history of the Bahamas. Okay, our tourism numbers is up through the roof until next year. So I have to give them props because our main industry is tourism.
So
all right?
let me ask you a question.
Go right
You're
ahead.
saying that this is the lowest unemployment figures in 15 years, right?
Yes.
Have you seen a breakdown? Have you seen a breakdown of those figures?
No, I haven't seen the breakdown.
So
but listen to
do we
me.
know how many people are employed but still underemployed, which means that they have a job, right? But they're not making sufficient money
The
to pay
problem
their
with
bills.
our country is not the government. The problem with our country is the system that we are under, okay? And it's time we start thinking out of the box to create our own system of government. And I'm not speaking about just a republic system of government, okay? I'm speaking about us as a country be the first in this Western Hemisphere to create our own system of governance by using the part of the Republic, the Democratic, the Westminster, and other systems. Create the system that will suit the Bahamas.
Let me ask you a question then, since you think the problem is not the politicians who manage the system, but the system itself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Hold on. So the problem isn't the managers of the system, it's the system itself. Are the managers of the system unable to change the system?
The managers of the system can't change the system without the citizens involved.
Okay, so
we have the majority of shares in the system.
Pause.
Okay?
B, here's the second question. Do you think that these successive politicians that they sufficiently understand the Westminster system that they currently operate under? Do you think they understand it sufficiently to be able to devise a new system? And C, give me a grade on the PLP's operation of the Westminster system. Let's grade them on that.
Yeah, if you want to be truthful, Aaron Green.
No, I want to answer. I can put you on pause. I ask you a question, and the question is, give me a grade on the Davis administration and its function within the Westminster system. That's what I ask. There you go. Morning.
You still there? Okay. So let's go through your list. No, I know you want to belabor it, but I
don't want to belabor it. I want to make a point. Right? What exactly are you grading? Are we grading effort? Or are we grading achievement?
Can the PLP get A for effort? At least to you?
No.
Not even A for effort, though? They ain't making no effort. What grade you give them for effort?
I give them a lower grade for effort than I would give them for achievement.
They ain't making no effort for change? No. This climate thing ain't no effort? This tourism thing ain't no effort?
A whole lot of new ideas that are being managed with the same...
Agriculture ain't making no effort?
A whole lot of new ideas that
Education?
are being managed with the same political and governance cultures. Like the guy said, he said that the problem isn't the people, but it's the systems, right? I'm going to say to you that the ideas are great, but will come to nothing if they are managed with the same political and governance cultures.
Can I get A for ideas then?
No.
They can't even get A for ideas?
No.
Let's go to, at least throw two more of those.
You give me one idea that emanated solely from the party, from the administration. One idea.
I was going to say carbon credits, but people have been talking about carbon credits for a while. And then the PLP jump on that bandwagon. But let's go. Name me two more of these things. No, I see the call. I'm going to come to the call right now. Name the first two because I want to hash that first two out.
FTX and World Expo were the first two.
Okay, so let's talk about that next, right? We might want to talk about this on Friday too, man. Okay, go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, good morning, Ms. Green. Good morning, Mr. Newry.
Good morning,
sir.
I was prompted to call, of course, right? I share the sentiments of pauper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the lady that called subsequently, right? And the gentleman that were giving these grades, right? Haphazardly, right? I wonder how conscious they are, because you have to be basically a news hound, right? To have a panoramic view of what's going on in the country. So for them to give them type of grades, I honestly believe that they are asleep on the plantation. This is my opinion. And so, I know when I was in COB, right, Aaron? I got 70% in A-level biology, and it was a C minus. All right, it was a C, I think, yeah. So I don't know, 78 could be a B minus. But the thing is, I got CA asking for a number, but why it's not proper to grade? CA give a good context of what you're grading, all right? So now, we look at when we was in school, right, Aaron, you know what mean and mode. So you would do 8 subjects, 9 subjects, O-level, and then what you get, you would divide, and then that'll give you your average, right? So we would have to grade each minister individually before we make this assessment. Not having some of these, I'm sorry to say this, some of these readless buffoons coming on the radio giving political fervor grading, because I can't grade, because out of the PLP, let's say, Ms. Hannah Martin, maybe a sincerity and dedication to the inner city and people like that, and then Mr. Chester Cooper, but he's all benefiting, but I'll give everybody a F minus for silence and compliance, different from what's the lady named Hannah Martin. But once you sit in the cabinet and see, Aaron, the pathetic psyche of the callers sickens me, because they're not being truthful with them themselves. They're not reading. They're not conscious of all of the different aspects of grading a political system, all of the inefficiencies and the things that they haven't done. So the guy who called and talking about this is not the government, is the system. That's the most pathetic thing I've heard of. But I see you trying to get him, right? But he doesn't even realize what he's saying. A lot of people suffer from hand, foot, and mouth disease, where they talk before they think. And that's exactly what I'm saying. And so when we look at what the government hasn't done, and so, just like the slaves on the plantation, I believe, honestly, we are in a brave new world, of course, and 1984 is now. But when I see people loving their servitude, I don't even want to be, sometimes I just don't even want to be a part of the human journey, because it sickens me, because we're not willing to be real to ourselves and true to ourselves. All right, we call ourselves Christian nation. We're not standing up for anything. We're allowing this, we're allowing that. We're afraid to speak. We're afraid to talk. So I won't give a grade, because when the gentleman who called talking that garbage about the unemployment rate, he really still need to understand a lot of people have given up on seeking employment, and he needs to get into you could fudge data, right?
Yep.
And statisticians, I don't know what's going. That's it, man. I'm just sickened at the level of political buffoonery when there's so many inconsistencies and so many contempt towards him, so much contempt towards him and people. And nobody's talking about the hospital until they reach there. You see, nobody's, and then even with the hospital, your lack of knowledge, you shouldn't even be allowed to comment on something that you have no knowledge of. It's sickening for people to comment. Aaron, you don't know me, and I don't know you. But if you was to know the truth about me, then you would form an opinion of me, right? So if the truth is being obfuscated in the political arena, how could I give a grade or know the truth when we don't know the truth about FTX and all of the other things that's next? We won't know until revelations come up. And so plausible deniability and subterfuge is the government's upper hand. We see even, let's say, from the police force go down, we saw a lot of obfuscation. If you talk about, they're appalled with the situation in the mall. Aaron, when things happen that is not documented? Oh, yeah. Those are just euphemistic words. Even with the building, with the stadium, they hate to use the word inferior products. You remember the Adelaide? It's like compatible with the environment. Man, BS, man. Euphemism is what they have studied. Give thanks.
Yeah, man. You remember the Adelaide bus, 52? I only hear stories of it. You know the Adelaide bus?
No,
Newry?
I'm not familiar with that.
The buses take the young man them out to Adelaide.
Oh, yeah, House of Pain.
That's what it's called, the House of Pain.
Yeah,
I had a name.
I traveled at a different time, but I see you call out, but I want to hash out these two. What is your opinion on the FTX? Why should the government, the Davis Cooper administration, be graded based on what happened with the FTX?
They should get an F.
Why?
Because they handled it poorly.
How?
There's obviously a lack of oversight. Perhaps perhaps the problem lies in that they just didn't understand what was required to take on such a monumental task.
But the Davis Cooper administration said they responded quickly. I remember the Attorney General said it shows that our adequateness in our response shows that our system works. We shut them down. I mean, the money's still gone, but I mean, we freeze the account.
That's a responsive. We're looking for a proactive, right? After the break.
After break.
I can tell you why there's a problem.
I see you. As soon as we come from the break, we coming straight to you, caller. So if you go, hold on, and we'll come straight to you after break. Because Aaron blaming the FTX fiasco on this administration. So we should do a better job. Anyway, we'll be right back.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Creative Events and Marketing presents Becoming, a transformative women's empowerment summit that will take place on September 24 at the National Training Agency located on Gladstone Road at 3 p.m. Phenomenal speakers include DeQuessa Dean, Simone Bowe, Shirley Pinder, Marissa Mason-Smith, and Dr. Nyambi Campbell-Dean. Not to mention a flaunted fashion show segment hosted by Miss Phyllis Garraway. Tickets are $50 and can be purchased at the Nassau Guardian or Essence Med Spa, number 15 Bradley Street, Palmdale. Part proceeds will be donated to the Jenny Dean Caring and Sharing Cancer Support Group.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. Buy your local paper at Freeport convenience stores, Western Bakery, DeGregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Want to reach your Grand Bahama customers? Then call Barefoot Marketing at 827-4578 or message them for ad rates via their Facebook page. Advertising opportunities now include classified ads too. Keep up with all the latest Grand Bahama news in the Nassau Guardian newspaper every Tuesday.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio AM with CA Newry. Of course, we have Aaron Green with us from On the Clock. I see we have all the callers. Aaron, we got to go to the callers.
Yeah,
Aaron, we got to continue the conversation.
The disclaimer is just this. This is constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I could be a disgusting Bahamian, go to another country, form a company, and make them pay me millions of dollars for consultative services, while we, the people, are given the information
You
for
say the
free.
people should be writing these things down and again having a response for it. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the callers. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, a pleasant good afternoon, CA, and good afternoon, Aaron. How y'all doing?
Good.
Oh, sorry, good morning. And good morning to the nation. I trying to figure out this comedy hour.
The PLP tends to do that to you.
People tend to laugh. People tend to laugh at them a lot. Yes, you agree.
Cecil and Aaron.
Yes, sir.
You had one administration that believed the antidote was to suffer the economy, was to kill the economic engine of the economy.
Which party was that?
In the former administration, and what they consider was saving lives. Right?
You mean the pandemic response?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
let's put that aside.
You had another administration that came in and immediately. But hold on. That former administration also said that it was impossible to provide the grade mask that is required in order to protect the humans, right? With sanitization, right? You had the new administration that came in.
You ever been to a government clinic recently and you couldn't go in because you didn't have a mask and they didn't have a free mask to give you?
No.
That happened to me.
That happens now. You need to come with your own mask.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, getting back to the point that I'm making.
Okay.
You had another administration, the current administration that came in and immediately set aside all of the former administration's policies, and the country did not collapse with COVID-19.
Did they repeal the Pandemic Act?
Open up the borders.
Did they repeal the Pandemic Act?
Remove the what did he call himself? Remove the competent authority clause, right?
No, he just ended it. He didn't remove it. It still exists and it can be invoked at any point in time.
Yes, he did. Took the activity back to Parliament, where the elected parliamentarians got to weigh in and make decisions on behalf.
Hold on. You mean the same Parliament that hasn't disclosed or gazetted the public disclosures in a matter of years?
I can't speak to who is disclosing or not. But
we're not speaking to who is disclosing. We're speaking to who is gazetting the list.
I'm speaking to a specific point that you all allowed to ride over. That
you referencing. Man, Anton. Is that Anton? That's Anton, right?
That's Anton, yeah.
That's Anton. Man, come on. You a PLP operative. You can't have a conversation. You have to pay.
Anton PLP?
You have to pay to spread a political message on this show.
Anton, to get paid?
You could engage in a conversation. I didn't say you're getting paid. I say somebody have to pay the station to spread a political message. You get an opportunity to engage in a conversation. In that conversation, you could put forth your party points in the conversation. But you can't come and give a party press statement. Let's have a conversation. It's a critical conversation.
We have another caller there, and let's patch that caller through.
Is Anton still? Yeah, come back.
Let's go back, Anton. Hey, Anton, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So I can finish my point, Aaron?
No, you could respond to the questions. Your point is, okay, what's your point? You got 30 seconds. What's your point?
The simple point that I'm making is one administration, being the former, killed the economy, create a diatribe of suffering amongst the people, criminalize people in the process. You had the current administration that came in, open up the economy, open up businesses, open up economics in the country, created a situation where.
So I ask you this, Anton.
Tourism is now.
Anton, I ask you this, Anton. What grade will you give the Davis Cooper administration so far?
That's a very good question, Cecil. And for me, I believe that right now
agreed.
I believe right now we are at a C plus. And I believe that when we get back to the second dispensation of Parliament, October 4th, 2023, I believe that based on the pronouncements from the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister,
we don't have a Deputy Prime Minister.
Pardon me?
We don't have a Deputy Prime Minister. Check your
Constitution. Not in the Constitution.
Go ahead.
I agree.
I want to know what percentage now.
But hold on, Cecil. I can answer that for you. But all I'm saying is, I believe that when we get back to Parliament, based upon the pronouncements of the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, the PLP will begin to move very swiftly to reconcile with all of the promises that we have made in the blueprint, in particular economic empowerment for our people. I believe that a lot of the
percentage. I need a percentage. You're promoting a political message now. We're trying to have a conversation, and I've been fair with people.
C plus would be around 69%, 70%, right? Because B begins at 71. All right, or B minus begins at 71. So I would put us right now around a C plus, and I believe once we get back to further executing,
we're not worried about that part. We're not worried about that part, Anton, man.
What I am concerned about is these percentage rating. When I was in school, C plus starts at 75%, right? And I'm realizing why we should be concerned with these BGCSE grades, that despite it being C plus being 60%, it seems, in BGCSE, our students ain't getting 60%. We need to be terrified. Because I grew up at 65 being 75%, all right? And
a C being 75%.
A C starting from 70, right?
Yeah.
You might squeeze a C minus from 68, but they have C now as 60.
Listen,
I don't know.
I just want somebody to tell me something. When you give the grade, tell me but real, not what they trying.
You want to pontificate?
No, I mean, give me something, because I'll tell you, right?
You want something strong and tangible?
Listen, something real. And then let me know, because I know perhaps you don't have access to the information that you would need to make your point.
But don't we vote on emotions? This is an emotional topic to say, hey, I feel that the PLP is doing well, so therefore I'll give them 100% because I feel that my pockets are being filled. I feel like my job is secured. I feel that the economy is doing well, so therefore I give them 100%. And then some people say, man, I don't feel nothing. Zero. Let's go to the caller going. Oh, sorry about that, caller. How much time we have?
We have 3 minutes.
We have 4 minutes, man. We could talk some more. You believe that we did poorly on the FTX after. When I say you believe, I mean the government response to the FTX fiasco.
Pause. Let me the government's approach to the FTX and the creation of a cryptocurrency exchange in the country. The government's approach to the creation of a new industry was poorly handled.
So you said, so this new industry that we have right now, you don't believe is being managed properly or it's being implemented properly?
Does it even exist? After FTX's collapse, right?
Our prime minister just made a forum just the other day, like 3 days ago, saying we have the best system right now. What you trying to say?
What system?
Well, I ain't get there yet.
Where can the average person go to read upon it? What happened to I think it's OKX? What happened to the exchange that attempted or that set up in Exuma on one of the family islands?
We don't know.
Exactly, Newry. I don't. And like I said, I forget the fiasco. I'm talking about the whole approach to creating a new industry within the financial services industry that's already a tenuous space given the multinational engagement involved. And they did not.
What about the Securities Commission? Their response to policing FTX and this new industry. Surely they are adequate.
Yeah, I think they did what they ought to do when they ought to do it. The question is, were they resourced? Were they enabled to perform at the level required to manage the industry and the creation of the new industry?
So this is what we can start with on Friday. We can start with this.
No,
just
man.
Like how we talk
I mean, I know what you're saying.
I see we have a caller. We have a caller. I want to squeeze the caller in.
The caller in because I want to talk about media busting and union busting.
We can start with that too.
And BPL.
That's Friday. That's Friday. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Yes, my 15 seconds.
Go ahead.
You're correct when you talk about the DARE bill, Ms. Green. Yes. There's no financial technology legislation, no supervisory technology legislation, no regulatory legislation. There is no legislation for trade fire. There's no legislation for property technology or any of these things that comes under the concept of fintech. We call things one thing, but there isn't, and I challenge anyone to just point to the legislation that the team addresses us. This is why FTX and now RWAC-X has failed, because we are talking about people using pen and pencils trying to track technology that is nowhere yet everywhere.
But
Thank you.
See, Alan, okay, just as we go, producer, play the music. Just as we go, we talking about we have a FTX, and we have a cryptocurrency exchange space in the country. Have you seen any word indicating which ministry or minister or portfolio would be responsible for artificial intelligence?
No, we don't.
There you go.
That's the biggest elephant you said in the room that is transforming every single industry, and we have no policy, no positions, nothing existing on it.
That's what we need to talk about. Anyway, Guided Radio on the AM with C.A. Newry. We had another mashup Wednesday, Man Down, where we analyze the accomplishments of the government, and looks like we're saying that they look like they need a little work.
I'd say we all need a little work.
We all need, you got to blame me too.
Yeah.
Guided Radio on the AM. Have a wonderful day.